Welcome back. Well, we're still talking about issues around the purported Ministry of Regional Development and its relevance to businesses and, of course, livelihood of the southeastern region of Nigeria. We're interested to know that the Federal Executive Council, FEC, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has scrapped the Niger Delta Development Ministry and the Ministry of Sports Development. Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, stated this on his X handle. And he goes on to say that there will now be a Ministry of Regional Development to oversee all the regional development commissions, such as the Niger Delta Development Commission, Northwest Development Commission, Southeast Development Commission, and Northeast Development Commission. All these issues and more will pretty much form the basis of our conversation this morning. And joining me on this conversation around the Ministry of Regional Development, specifically its relevance to businesses and livelihood in Southeast Nigeria, is none other than Emeka Odom, who is a journalist by excellence and a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you, Emeka, join us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, quickly, your thoughts on this. Let's start there. I mean, did you see this coming?
Well, I didn't see it coming. I must confess, I didn't see it coming. But if you ask me, I would say it's a welcome development. Welcome development in the sense that at least this is the right step in the right direction. Now, if you look at the Ministry of Niger Delta before it was scrapped, it's quite close-ended. It simply tells you that the ministry's core attention, what is cut out to do, the business of Niger Delta. And if you also ask me, there's notably one agency, the NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission. And so when you say the Ministry of Niger Delta, it simply means that this is what this agency, this is what this ministry, this is their core business. Now, you have other commissions that are in like manner with NDDC. You have the Southeast Development Commission that has just been signed into law by the president, even though we are yet to see, more action in terms of actual establishment of the commission, with all the paraphernalia and to enable it to start operations. Then you also have the Northeast Development Commission, and possibly, of course, I also know that there's the Southwest Development Commission that is still in the works, still at the National Assembly. Yeah. And so when all of these agencies come up, are you now going to create a ministry for each of them? So you find now that this step is in the right direction. So you have a ministry that will now have to aggregate all of these other commissions, and put them together because they're all at par. That's just what it means. It doesn't matter whichever of what we agree. They all have their individual problems that they have to deal with. Maybe for the Northwest, for the Northeast, their major issue now has to do with devastation that is caused by long years of fight against insurgency. Then also you have the issue of deforestation, you have the issue of Lake Chad, you have many other environmental issues that are very common to that area. And of course you come to the Southeast here, the problems are very obvious. The issues of erosion, the issue of neglect over the years, the bad roads, the many infrastructures that are crying for attention, and many other things. And so they have to deal with these things. But the ministry is there. It's not the job of the ministry to begin to work on these areas. That is why you have the commission. The commission is the agency, the organization that will have to tackle all of these issues as they are peculiar to the various regions. Now, the ministry is there to supervise, harmonize, and take their case to the cabinet level. And so, for me, it's a right step in the right direction. But having said that, you also know that, like I always say, we know ourselves. I remember when I was in the university, one guy who wanted to contest election, and when it was time for the manifesto night, he just came out when he was meant to talk to the students. He said, "Look, you know me, I know you." So that was his manifesto. So in Nigeria, we know ourselves. We know them. They know us. And so it's not just about creating the ministry, changing the nomenclature and somehow, in quote, playing to the gallery. It's not just that. We want to see real governance. When this ministry is properly established, when they complete the processes of, balancing the papers and moving the personnel and changing the nomenclatures and every other thing else, we want to see real work. We want to see real supervision. The ministry must play its role, in supervising these commissions. And by the way, why hasn't the Southeast Development Commission come in? It's heading towards 1 year now that I remember that was one of the earliest bills that the president signed when he was sworn in, on 29th of May last year. This is October is about to round off. Yeah. So why hasn't that bill come up? It's not as if they are going to. I'm sure they are going to source their initial staff from the MDS. I don't think accommodation should be their problem. So what is exactly delaying them? The people should know, because we live in a country where, having succeeded in fighting the major battle of getting the convincing the legislators at National Assembly to agree to passing the bill. Mm. Now also you pass the hurdle of convincing the president to sign. So why should you also find another hurdle of establishing the commission itself? Must we wait for another 1 year before we establish the commission? So these are so that commission should be established clearly, and so that it can, because until it takes off, growth cannot come. Yeah. So for me, is a right step in the right direction. Okay. It now remains to do the right thing. It's not just to change the nomenclature. Yes. Do the right thing.
Now, another thing that I want to point out very quickly was there was a shakeup of his cabinet. I know of 6 persons, thereabouts, so 5 persons who have been excused. I wouldn't want to use the word sacked, but that's pretty much the word. Those that were relieved of their duties were the Minister of Women Affairs, Joe Kennedy Ohaniye, Minister of Education, Tahir Mama, Minister of Tourism, Lola Adejon, Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Mohammed Gwamzo, and Minister for Youth and Development, Jamilia Bio Ibrahim. These persons were relieved of their appointment, and then a particular name popped up. It's not every time we get to hear names that come from a particular extraction being appointed as ministers. And let's just be real about it. And then a certain name popped up, and this has been all over the whole place. Right? I'm talking about the name of a significant appointment. That's what it was called in the news on the leadership newspaper. They called it a significant appointment. I'm talking about when the name Bianca Ojuku's name came up as the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Now, what are your thoughts? Let's start there.
Again, also, let me begin by also commending the president. Perhaps this is the very first time we are seeing names are being thrown up. Ordinarily, before now, you will get to know who and who. You only hear that the president has sent a list of names to the National Assembly. It is actually the Senate president, at the time he's unveiling, reading the letter on the floor of the House, that you get to know who and who's name. Now, that's number one. So this time around, we are getting to know. That's number one. Then number 2 is that this is also the first time that as the names are coming up, there's a portfolio attached to it. So this is also commendable. Well, the appropriateness of the portfolios is a different thing, but at least there's a portfolio attached to the names from day one now. So we wouldn't have to wait until the day they are being sworn in before we get to know who is going to which ministry. Now, also, having said that, let me come to the issue of yes, when this news broke yesterday, of course, our men, the men in the pen profession, gave it probably what they've been expecting. The president has sacked some ministers, and quickly the chief spokesperson to the president came to say no, they were not sacked. But I don't know what else again to call it. As far as I'm concerned, they were, whether you say they were excused, they were shoved out. It's a sack, for goodness sake. Their journey in the Federal Executive Council for now has come to an end, and so that is. I'm sure they themselves know that if they're expecting to have a repeat of what happened during the Muhammadu Buhari regime, where people spent 8 years, some spent 4 years, probably it's not going to happen. I don't think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that kind of person. So that is that. Now, whether some appointments were significant or not, for me, I don't think so. What is significant about it? You from Anambra State, the president dropped Uju Kennedy Ohanene, right? And from who was a minister minister of women affairs. That's a substantive minister. Now you are appointing from the same state a minister of state. Now, from what we know, minister of state is a little bit, in terms of protocol, is a little bit inferior to a substantive minister.
True.
So, what is significant about that? The woman himself had held a high-standing position in the past. She was an ambassador, a former Nigerian ambassador. Is this Spain or where? But So, what is significant that she's been asked to come to the cabinet? She is qualified. She is qualified by every standard. So that's the widow of the late Ikemba is being given an appointment. Is it what we should all of us should go and walk around Lagos Lagoon and clap? So sometimes too our men our men are in the press. Sometimes they need to tone down some of these things, because I don't see if actually is. What is significant in the very first place? That is the minister of. Well, I respect that position. I congratulate, Chief Mrs. Bianca Ono. Chief Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu. That's a great one. We clap for her. We congratulate her. But the president dropped a substantive minister from Anambra State and appointed a minister of state. So how do we place that? That is not to say that the appointment, that is not to demean the appointment. But I'm just saying that, when people say, oh, it was a, if the president wants to, do something that's very significant per se, let him give 2 service chiefs to the Southeast. And if you go to the cabinet list now and find out the whole of Southeast, that's the region with the least appointments. Although I'm not the kind of person that wants to start picking hole in all of these things, because I've read some, somebody did analysis, and if you go to the 6 geopolitical zones, out of the 48 or 46 ministers we have now, this is what the Southwest is getting, this is what the South is getting, this is what the Southeast, Northwest, North Central, and if you balance all of these things, very fine, the Southeast probably occupying the list. They are getting the least appointment, the least attention in terms of appointment, And so, yes, we have a service chief from the Southeast here, and for me also, I was one of the people, when people were clapping, I said, what are you talking about? Is it not something we merit? We have our officers in the armed forces who are very much qualified. So when you appoint, if you appoint a service chief from the Southwest, they're not going to start clapping. So you see, and that is one of the bad things about this. When President Muhammadu Buhari came here and he looked at the Southeast, and he as far as I'm concerned, he relegated the Southeast so much in terms of consideration for federal appointments, and now looked as if anybody that comes to do the right thing, all of us start clapping, say, hey, this one is great. And what is great? You're doing the normal thing. And by the way, I don't even think that these people are doing enough, because you only check, it's not that appointment that is, mandated by the Constitution. Is not what we're going to use to judge you. For instance, when you come to the ministerial appointment, the Constitution says at least there has to be 1 minister from each state of the federation. And so you have just kept the baseline. In so and so state, you appointed only 1 person. You took 1 person from there and made him a minister. And we'll start clapping for you. Now, those appointments that you're not bound by the Constitution, that's when we'll know exactly how you feel. How many of them are you taking outside of your friends?
We'll come to that. Now, quick question that comes to mind really is, one of the few things, I saw quite a number of comments, but just one is one I'm going to take. Says, how are we even sure that she would take that role?
Well, that's also another. I should have thought that they must have contacted her before throwing the name up. But again, also, this is Nigeria. It's a possibility. I mean, if they can sack people without actually informing them, they can also appoint without informing them. So I won't be surprised. Well, yeah. I won't be surprised. Yeah. We have had cases where a minister was in the hospital and he was removed. We also had a case where a minister was in faraway country, on official duty, and they were announced at Radio Nigeria that he has been removed. Yeah. So anything is possible.
Now, let's talk about the relevance of this really to us here in the Southeast. A lot of people have the opinion that this is more or less another political gimmick by the government at the center, bringing late Biafran leader's wife to the fold, number one. Number two, it is also designed to help douse tension in the southeast. How true is that?
No, what tension is he going to douse?
No, that's the point I want to understand.
What tension?
It doesn't make any sense from me. From
what tension is he going to? Are we fighting with the president? We are not fighting with the president. Election was held, and we felt that look, this is the way we should go. And I mean, some people said no, this is where they want to go to. And the election came and passed. So are we not loyal to federal government? So when people, and that is why for me, when people use some certain words, I frown at it. As soon as I'm concerned, there's no thing. Which station are you going to? Haven't we had ministers here before? Ujo Henenye was from Anambra State. She is not a less Anambra or Southeast person than Chief Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu. They are all legitimate daughters of Igbo land. They are all high-profile daughters of Igbo land. So if you even ask me, I should quarrel at why you should drop a minister of state and appoint why you should drop a substantive minister and appoint a minister of state. And again also, is it the former Onyejuocha also who was handling the minister of state for labor and productivity? I think is it?
No, go on.
I think that ministry was one of the ministries that was merged or something like that. I didn't really get the gist, But for me, there's no dousing of any tension here. This is not the first time the woman is holding an appointment. She was an ambassador, and many people will tell you that look, they even prefer to be an ambassador. After when you in a foreign land, you are the head of the Nigerian community there. So what is the tension? The truth cannot be substituted. The Southeast needs to be given whatever, whether we want to use the word, let them be given a space, let them be supported, let them be encouraged, let them be voted, whatever language you want to use. The Southeast must not or should no longer be, either relegated or marginalized or whatever thing it is, whatever we want to say it. Just like the former president Olusegun Obasanjo was saying a few days ago, where he talked about that the Southeast must be supported by the other regions. We have supported other regions in the past. We have. In 1999, we voted for Olusegun Obasanjo in PDP. The Southeast voted for PDP. In 2003, the Southeast voted for Olusegun Obasanjo in PDP again. In 2007, the Southeast voted for Umaru Yar'Adua in PDP. In 2011, the Southeast voted for South in PDP as well. So why can't other regions support to vote the Southeast, irrespective of whichever party we find ourselves in? That is inclusion. So it's not about the Southeast has been vice president of this country. So when people say is to douse tension, I really don't understand what that means.
Now let's wrap this up because I want to time quickly. Now, how do you see this Ministry of Regional Development affecting the business ecosystem and landscape of the Southeast?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That having taken this right step in the right direction by bringing all the commissions, doing the same thing at the various regions under one ministry. That's the right step in the right direction. The next thing is let the ministry properly, after they must have completed their protocol of handover and whatever thing that is required by law, by status to get established, let them settle down to business. You see, we saw the Ministry of Niger Delta and NDDC, more like, do I say, they didn't really quite agree because there were a lot of things that, a lot of revelations came, and each time they go to the National Assembly for probe, you hear a lot of things. Right. And I remember when the current Senate president was the minister in charge of Niger Delta in the last administration. Okay, so too many things happened. Too many things came to public, domain. So this time around, let the ministry play its rightful role. Number one, properly supervise these commissions. Help them to do the right. Don't take over their job because a situation where, because one of the issues that came up in the last time was more like the minister trying to, overboss the chairman of the commission. And, these agencies, these commissions are not just as other government agencies, you may say. They are not just like other commissions. These are commissions that their establishment, their composition, the positions there are clearly, they are quite incidental. And they are clearly spelled out in law, So the commission must understand the sensitivity of those agencies, allow them to do their job, but supervise them to do their job. Let them not just be agencies or things that will just exist at the level of nomenclature and that leaves it. Let it be operational. Let the people feel the impact of these commissions. And so in that case, the ministry will be doing it. And the person who is going to oversee that ministry also matters a lot, because I know that one of the things that happen in this country is we can't take politics away. Like you were asking, is it more of course, at the end of the day, politics is at the center of it all. We all know all these things. Politics is at the end of it. But in spite of that, play the politics and get the job done. These are the two issues. Play the politics and get the job done. But in playing the politics, don't let whoever is going to become the minister of that ministry to now, begin to tilt towards one side and see himself. Probably if he's from so region, it is only that commission that, as long as he's concerned, that he is out to serve. He will now fail to understand that the other commissions, he equally has a responsibility to make sure that they all feel the impact of governance. And so if that is done, then of course we know that this whole thing would have been very gainful.
All right, I think that's a good place to leave you. Thank you so much, Emeka, for coming. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is the Science of the Package. Today on the Eastern Business Report, I've played host to Emeka Odom, a journalist for excellence and a public affairs analyst, and we look at issues around the Ministry of Regional Development, checking out to find out the relevance to businesses and livelihood of persons in the southeastern part of Nigeria. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning Live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Coming up next is Afia. My name is Odom Kings. Stay tuned.